Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment.
I just said that right there.
Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight's on the Banned from Ringside podcast, NXT has some new, what would you call them? New overlords, Vince and Bruce Pritchard. We have your AEW All Out predictions. Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax shoot on each other in the middle of the ring. And the biggest news of the week, Billy Gunn turns heel. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
You ain't shit. Billy Gunn turns heel.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Smart Kellogg. And to my left, as always, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
I'm sorry, that just tickled me. Allow us to bow our heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 221, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good Smart saying, hashtag boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. The new holy trinity of BFR. Charlotte and Nia, I know we were going to talk about it, but I'll just say this. When I saw it initially happen, it looked weird, and then it got weirder because it felt real, and it was a shoot, and it was actually happening in front of everybody. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. And nobody's really going to appreciate this until like 24 hours later. Then literally 24 hours later, everybody's still talking about it. I love fucking wrestling.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Two Beer Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beer Zach?
AKA Big Daddy V-Hig. That's what I'm having everybody call me out here. And they don't know why. But they're doing it. So that's all that matters.
That's great.
I mean, as long as they're going through with it, that's good.
Yeah, I was going to say, make them take it. Make them take it.
I have not talked to Zach in a long time. I hope everything is good.
Yeah, I was furiously Googling Mark Kellogg. So is that the newspaper reporter killed at the Battle of Little Bighorn or the women's basketball coach from Austin State University?
It's actually based on Clark Kellogg, who is he's a basketball announcer. I do appreciate, though, that you are taking the time out to try and determine the sports sports references that you're not getting, though. Like, you're actually doing the work now, which is a little bit more than you've been doing in the past.
Oh, yeah. Not a worker. No, not me.
He's just talent, boys and girls.
All that motherfucker does his work. We are coming at you from just beautiful St. Charles, Missouri. I mean, it is like...
Dude, it's hotter here than it is there right now, which is bogus, because it's been beautiful. But it's 81 right now.
Literally spent the entire morning and day out here with my wife and my baby and my dog, and I read, and my wife was watching a webinar, and it's just been so nice outside. So I think it's...
By the way, I'm sending you some Invermectin for your baby.
Thank you, yeah. I've been looking for baby-approved horse paste.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that's what it is, right? It's horse paste.
Oh, my God.
I got some from Joe Rogan, and we're good.
That's good. I saw somebody on Twitter the other day say, why is everybody calling this horse medicine when they know ivermectin can also be used for humans? It's like, because these idiots are buying it from fucking veterinary stores, and they're using the dosages that say only for use for horses.
Okay. Damn
That's
horse
why.
steroids. That's amazing. People kill me, dog. I swear to God. I heard this shit. I read about this shit the other day. I just shook my head. I'm like, man, this shit, it just gets getting better and better all the time, boy. God bless Joe Rogan. He better than me. I just couldn't do it. No.
I was less disappointed in Kevin Spacey news than I was in Joe Rogan news.
Well, I don't hate Joe Rogan. My problem with Joe Rogan's podcast is that, they're all super long, and it's like, man, he just kind of rambles for a while. Like, he'll be talking. I was talking to my buddy Ham today. Like, he'll be talking to some chick from North Korea, and she'll be like, I crawled on my belly for 4 straight years, and I ate piss and shit out of the troughs, but I eventually went out, but all of my family was killed. And he'll be like, yeah, I was on I did this strain of ayahuasca in Australia called God's Tongue, and I shot an elk. And it's like, yeah, dude, like you're just babbling at this point. But I mean, the biggest problem is that everybody treats him like he's an expert on everything, when really he's just curious. I mean, he's kind of like a curious dumbass who has flashes where he's smart. I don't know how this turned into a Joe Rogan podcast. Listen, if you listen to him, God bless you. We got tons of wrestling to get to. Let's get to that one count.
1, 2, 3.
Jason, what's the one count?
We'll give Lucha Chris credit for the meme that I saw on Twitter. I guess it was either yesterday or today, where you see Vince McMahon back in the day when he was talking about Bret screwing Bret. In this case, it says NXT screws NXT. Vince and Bruce Pritchard are now apparently going to be the head honchos in charge of NXT. The report, I guess, came out either yesterday or today. I saw it today. It might have came out late last night. Whatever the case may be, doesn't ultimately matter. I think what really ultimately matters is the direction of where NXT is going forward. It kind of felt like a developmental turn. At least that's what the reports are. In my opinion, the last couple of shows have been a little more developmental than anything else, where you were seeing Mandy Rose, for example, for the first time on NXT television in the ring. A lot more Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, Duke Hudson. This was basically, those 3-4 people in the first couple of matches, where it really feels like we're turning the page. Even Drake Maverick, I can't remember who his partner was, but now all of a sudden Drake Maverick is
Grayson Walker.
Okay, now
Grayson Waller, sorry.
Drake Maverick's all of a sudden the straight guy in the comedy act of him and Waller. So I mean, this is where, I wasn't sure it was going to be truly developmental, but now more and more, as time progresses, it feels like it's developmental. Now, that said, with Vince and Bruce Pritchard coming in to basically, I guess, oversee NXT, what does all this mean? It sounds like this is going to be like another shit show, because if we just stop to think about the NXT hierarchy for 30 seconds, it should be Vince, Bruce, Triple H, Shawn, fill in the blank. Shawn and Triple H have their own vision. But if Vince and Bruce Pritchard are going to be there, Vince has his own vision, and his vision is going to be the vision. I was trying to have this argument today on Twitter about this. I know Triple H brought back Samoa Joe. That's great. But that was before Vince decided, okay, I'm going to have even more so of a hands-on approach. We kind of saw that when, I guess it was either last year or 2 years ago, when we saw main roster stars come to NXT, Seth Rollins, Charlotte. So it feels like 2 years ago, because it felt Charlotte ends up winning the NXT title. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte have the WrestleMania match. So that was 2 years ago. So we kind of got a glimpse of what that could be.
Yeah, that was the COVID WrestleMania. That was the empty arena, yeah.
So we got a kind of a glimpse what this could be. I'm not sure if I want to see more of that. If this is going to be developmental, then just go with developmental. Lean into that, develop these young talents, and go with that. But it almost feels like this is going to be, and I hate to say it, more sports entertainment, where this feels more like a main roster show versus what we knew as the former NXT.
Two Beer, what do you think?
Jason hit it on the head whenever he said one word. I'm going to switch it to 2 words. He said it's going to be a shit show, but it's really just going to be a shit show. It's going to fucking suck. It already does, really. I mean, we had this like golden era of NXT, like 2016 to 2019, right, where they were cycling in indie talent, turning them into television stars, and then turning them onto the main roster. Like, that was kind of the original, not the original goal. The original goal was the developmental stuff. I didn't watch that kind of stuff. But yeah, the 2016 to 2019, that was like whenever it was in its heyday, we all loved it. And then the goal quickly shifted to just beat AEW. That's whenever things started going downhill. We switched to the 2-hour format. We went to cable television.
USA, yeah.
Yeah,
it was like
that
was
me,
the beginning
that was
of
the
the
most
end.
important thing is that they went to television.
Yes. And it just started to get worse. And it was good for a while. It was just little sprinklings here and there of counter programming and just not really focusing on the directions that they had traditionally focused on. And now, like, the goal is like whatever. Like they had lost the war cleanly and clearly. And I mean, there's no fault in that, but obviously Vince thinks there is fault because Triple H is out of power and he's taken over, and it's not going to be better. RIP NXT. We hardly knew ye, but I mean, I barely watched the show anyway. It's just not that good.
Okay, before you say something, I'm just going to push back for 30 seconds. It's not as bad as Raw, okay? I don't even think it's that bad. I think this is a transitional period where things are going to be in flux. We're going to have to give it like a month or two to figure out who's who, what's what. Samoa Joe's on top. From that point, we don't know if Pete Dunne is staying or going. If he stays, then, we got a nice little heel faction that could replace Undisputed Era. So, I mean, a lot of this is just going to have to play itself out. I know I say that a lot, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to go south because that's main roster. I'm going to give NXT the benefit of the doubt because Hunter and Shawn are still there. If they can have some influence, maybe we can get some sprinklings of what the old NXT used to be.
Yeah, like those guys deserve the benefit of the doubt in terms of what they've done with NXT in the past. Vince gets no benefits of any doubts.
None.
And if Vince is involved at all, it's well, listen, okay. So
real quick, I bet Vince has already purchased a bunch of those things that you see at Six Flags where it says you must be this tall to ride this ride, and he put him in gorilla.
See, stop. See, you ain't shit because you basically throwing your boy underneath the bus. I'm sitting over here trying to be like, maybe Johnny Gargano doesn't get released.
Listen, when a joke is made, Jason, you have to look at who the butt of the joke is. Zach wasn't throwing his boy under the bus. He was throwing Vince under the bus for being a fucking idiot. He wasn't
being a shortest.
A shortest, yeah. I mean,
well, say I'm fighting for short people everywhere. God damn it, 5'9" lives matter.
Short lives matter.
That's right.
I mean, never mind.
You ain't much taller than me. Don't start.
I'm fucking 5'11" and 3/4. I shrunk a fourth of an inch. Okay, there's three things that I've written down here. First of all, Zach said, R.I.P. NXT. We hardly knew ye. NXT was great longer than the Confederacy. And they're still talking about the Confederacy 200 years later. So
I'm dead, dude.
in terms of thinking about NXT's run at the top or how it was must-watch TV.
Shit.
It lasted long enough. We'll see.
There's a lot of things that lasted longer than the Confederacy. Motherfuckers hold on to that for it's like their last book Bible. It's like, no.
Edna May's great grandkids are going to be driving around the trucks with an NXT flag flying out of it.
Oh shit.
Another thing that I thought about while you guys were talking is that when NXT kind of had the Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn's, the Kevin Owens, all those guys that came in, when they were able to scoop up those indie wrestlers that there was buzz about that killed PWG shows, and all those days are done. There's not a whole lot of indie wrestlers, and with all due respect to the local indie shows, there is so many more places when you look at AEW, all the talent they've scooped up. MLW, NJPW Strong. There are all these people that can work, that can really fucking work, that are indie guys. And none of those things existed when NXT started. NXT really started turning on the afterburners and really gave us a run of takeovers that fucking ruled. So, in that respect, when you watch NXT TV and they're bringing in guys that are, okay, like I like Bronson Reed a lot. Bronson Reed doesn't set the world on fire with his work rate. He's pretty good wrestler, man. He's pretty fucking awesome. But he's certainly not to the he's not the same guy. He's not in the same league as the guys that I just mentioned. The guys that fucking killed NXT for a long time. The third thing that I want to say, and Zach wasn't on the podcast, but Jason pushed back on me when we talked about CM Punk's debut, and I said this
a little bit.
This might not be the end of WWE, but it is the end of WWE's dominance. And what this signals more to me than anything else is that, I was right.
Jesus Christ, 1 week.
This is basically Vince saying, you know what, we're going to let AEW have this they're going to have this whole side of wrestling that they want to, because Vince and Bruce Pritchard, they are being quoted backstage, or the rumors are going around that they're saying, you know what, we're going to start bringing in guys that aren't necessarily wrestlers, and we're going to try to turn them into wrestlers, like Odyssey Jones, guys like that, Ridge Holland. We are going to...
they just did another performance group or whatever. It's like 5 or 6 people, 1 woman, 5 guys. The woman's like a professional bodybuilder or whatever. Right. But, yeah, I get your point. Go ahead.
Vince is done saying, they're letting... WWE as a whole is letting AEW have that
the indie stars,
have that corner of the wrestling world. Not even a corner, half of the wrestling world, really. And they're still going to try to do their thing, which is they're going to try to build big stars. It's not going to be based on in-ring product at all. It's going to be based on star power. And that goes into what I was saying last week, which is we had CM Punk's debut. Bill Vagey, a.k.a., said that that's the end of WWE's dominance. And then the next week we find out that Vince and Bruce Pritchard are taking over NXT, and they're going to drop all the indie guys. So I feel vindicated. Jason, I'll get your response to that after we hear back from Zach. What do you think, Zach?
This motherfucker cuts me off every time.
All right, Jason, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Two-Beard. No, you wasn't here last week. Go ahead, because I know you want to talk about CM Punk for a little bit.
I mean, it's the talk of the wrestling world, and I mean, they're really bringing that cloth dry. Like, they're doing everything they can, as they rightfully should. I mean, it is what it is. CM Punk was the number one, Google search term the week of his debut. That's Google. That ain't anything else. They were the number one show on cable. They've been the number one sports show, even over preseason football. They're on a roll, and I'm sure Vince is reacting to it. It just is what it is. You can't be as competitive as Vince and not. It definitely has to skin your ass, especially because he thinks he made these guys into stars, even though they are what they are because of who they are and what they can do. And if they're left to their own devices, that's the funny thing about this new model of NXT is they're going to keep trying to fit square pegs into round holes. And they have a certain idea of what a star is, whereas Tony Khan is letting these people be themselves, which is what Vince used to do. And, at least in the mid to late 90s, whenever he stopped dressing people up like cartoon characters, which was also fun. I'm not going to talk down on it. I loved it. I'm watching
that. I would talk down on that shit.
It was a long time ago. My grandpa would have called you colored. Was he racist? I don't know, but it was a long time ago.
I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, he's probably racist if he's calling me colored. I'll just say this.
It's just not going to work is all I'm saying. And no matter how hard they try, because they have a very limited idea of what a star is, and it just ain't going to work. And CM Punk's going to keep doing big numbers I'm excited. I'm going to buy All Out. I usually try to stream these things illegally, but I'm going to give them my $50 because first of all, it's a huge pain in the ass to stream these pay-per-views illegally, not just because they take them down, but there's so many people trying to do it. You very often cannot even get on to a good thread. So they're getting my $50 this weekend, and I'm anxious to give it to them.
Two things. Number one, I'll say this. The fact that NXT is going to this model of I guess, strategy where they're trying to build their own homegrown talent. I get that. They want to take these 5 or 6 new performance entries, whatever you want to call them, and build them in their own model, in their own likeness, the way that they wouldn't have to teach them any other way. They only know one way, the Vince, Bruce Pritchard, NXT, WWE way. So I can get why they're going that route. You take the fact that they want to try to build these stars as main event, possible WrestleMania type stars. I get why they're going this route. Do I agree with it? No, because ultimately, at some point, all these people are going to have to get in the ring, and they could easily get exposed. There's my biggest problem with that.
Like Rich Allen does. We keep lumping together Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon as though they're the same person. Bruce Pritchard definitely has a different wrestling mind than Vince McMahon, and really, it depends on how much of a say Vince McMahon allows Bruce Pritchard to have. Now,
well, Pritchard's just a yes man. I think that's the only reason he's been able to stay in these roles, and that's why Heyman's out and Pritchard's in. And
that's why I'm lumping one in the same as...
Yeah, because he just says yes, and he comes up with ideas he thinks Vince will like, rather than come up with good ideas.
That's fair enough. Whatever I was about to say was going to be a version of we'll just wait and see, but we already know what it's going to be. It's going to be Vince fucking ruining it. And anybody that says that that's not what it's going to be is one of those guys that's always on wrestling Twitter. It's one of those guys that's being like, everybody's overreacting but me. And those guys are the fucking worst, because every single time WWE has been good under Vince's watchful eye over the last 15 years has been an anomaly compared to the rest of the shit that's happened over the last 15 years with WWE. So if you're sitting there listening to my voice right now and you're being like, well, let's just wait and see, maybe NXT's going to fucking rule. Guess what? It's not. Because nothing that Vince has touched for the last 15 years has ruled, except for every once in a while something works.
I really want to push back on that. I really do.
Oh, but see, I already cut you off with the knees because I said anybody that disagrees with this is one of those guys. So now if you disagree with it, you're just going to be one of those guys.
I would be one of those guys. I think
I'm like the wrestling Ben Shapiro.
I think we're all on record knowing how I feel ultimately about WWE.
Yeah, well, I completely destroyed you in this debate.
This motherfucker here. Unreal. Let's get to that 2 count. I'm almost disgusted.
Well, I mean, before we get to the 2 count, is there anything that you liked about NXT this week? Because NXT was not a bad show this week. It really wasn't. It does feel kind of like a lame duck couple weeks, but I liked Gargano and LA Knight quite a bit.
That was the match of the
That's
show.
The highlight.
Yeah, for sure. The fact that you have Index trying to bridge the gap with their father-in-law and causing him to lose.
Their father-in-law.
I thought that I mean, because ultimately that's what this is.
I mean, I know.
Ultimately, this is what it's leading to. So you gotta have to, wait and see what happens next week. I'm waiting for Austin Theory to come in next week and destroy this wedding, so we can drag this thing out a little longer. But yeah,
can you just imagine explaining the Index storyline to someone who doesn't watch wrestling?
Hell no.
Like, there's a man who doesn't talk, who's like a maybe serial killer. And then, there's this young, impressionable girl who's in love with him, and they're star-crossed lovers, Capulet and Montague.
And Johnny ain't having none of that.
Oh, man. But I do really want to say, not a huge, I've said it before, not a huge Dexter Lumis fan, but I do like that he is not just completely non-expressive anymore. Like, he's actually reacting to things, even though he's not speaking. And it's a huge improvement.
For sure. And I was going to say that. I like that. I like Pete Dunne's faction, even though Rich Holland lost. MSK, and only working in Danny Burch next week. So, I mean, you know, there's good things out of this. It's just, like I said, this thing is going to be in flux at least for the next couple weeks to figure out what direction we're going to go creatively. And then from there, you know, the bigger picture is whatever the next takeover is. That's where we're really going to see how this thing ultimately is going to look. For like, you know, 2 or 3 months down the line. Honestly, I'll just say this. I'm going to watch regardless, but my ultimate problem with this is I don't think that Hunter and Shawn Michaels are going to have a lot of input, and that's my biggest worry because NXT is still their baby, so they should have some input. Vince is going to come in and fuck the shit up anyway, so, I mean, you know, I get that part, but there's certain things like Johnny Gargano shouldn't get cut. Ciampa shouldn't get cut. If they want to leave, then they should leave, but they should never be released because they're going to be part of this cornerstone of stars that can push these other stars that you want to get pushed. Duke Hudson, okay? At some point, I would assume that he and Ciampa are going to cross paths, or he and Gargano are going to cross paths. So you're going to need those guys, the guys that have the star power to push other guys over the top. Kyle O'Reilly and Duke Hudson had a good match, but ultimately that's not going to do a lot for Duke Hudson. If Duke Hudson beats, say, Johnny Gargano, then that puts him kind of on the map. So you can't really release these guys. So it's going to be one of those things where I'll piggyback on Bill. Ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but I'm not convinced that NXT is going to go left like we think it is. There's going to be some differences. Things we like, things we don't, but I'm willing to let this thing play itself out only.
All right, let's get to that 2 counts.
1, 2, 3.
2 beer, what's the 2 count?
2 count is AEW. I guess I didn't realize it, but we should probably talk Rampage, which was like a fine show. It was not the standout show of the previous week, although what would be. I'm actually kind of struggling to remember what even happened. So while I think about it, we can talk about Dynamite, which is a little more recent. But we did have this show bookended by fantastic tag team wrestling, which is super cool because I think even if you're not a huge AEW fan, you can agree that they have the best tag team wrestling going right now. And they have opened the show with a rematch that we've all been dying to see, FTR rather, and Santana and Ortiz. And as the opening matches of Dynamite go, no commercial breaks, and this thing tore the house down. It was awesome. Cash Wheeler sold the arm the entire time and really played into the storyline of, you know, the potential retiring of, you know, due to not having feeling in his hand because of this cut, which is like a totally brutal injury. They came out with the cool Bobby Eaton jackets, just really kind of, you know, I think Revival was a great name for them because they do kind of revive this aspect of old school tag team wrestling, and I think that's why they're so well respected beyond just being good workers. It's like you could put them like in any time period and they would excel. But yeah, really great match. And Santana and Ortiz go over, they win, and I really think that Santana and Ortiz should now be in the title picture. So whoever wins versus this Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks cage match, I think Santana and Ortiz should be first in line because just of the way AEW does things, and also when you kind of rank these like tag teams, those are 2 very high ranked tag teams. I don't know the exact rankings, but I mean when you look
3 and 4,
it's how they. When you think of the top tag teams in AEW, they're up there. So if one beats the other, that means that, you know, in Revival's former FTR's former champs, Santana and Ortiz have not had their shot, or at least not had their time to shine, really. And I know Jason lamented that like quite a bit on this podcast, but killer opening match. And we bookended with a fantastic 8-man tag, which we can talk about a little more. But what do you guys think?
Jason.
I guess I'm playing the role of Tubular on this one. I'm not sure if I'm getting worked by Cash Wheeler's arm injury or not, but that to me was my focus on the match. Didn't see him a lot to start, saw him a little more towards the end. He was kind of rubbing the arm or whatever the case may be. I hope I'm getting worked, but it kind of looked like there was a couple of spots where Cash needed a little help. Not necessarily at 100%. I wouldn't expect him to be at this point. It was good. I think it could have been better if, like I said, I just don't think Cash Wheeler is 100%. And that's, to me, took a little bit away from the match. That's just me personally. Ultimately, I think we're going to get the tiebreaker at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York when they go up there for their Dynamite show on Wednesday. I'm just hoping, ultimately, Cash Wheeler was okay, number one. And number two, like Tubular said, this should be the springboard to put Santana Ortiz as the next team to face the winner of the Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, whoever wins that at All Out.
So it's hard to talk about this without talking about All Out, without giving away predictions. But it seems to me that the Inner Circle is coming to an end, for better or for worse. So what I'm really looking forward to is, even more so than FTR, is LAX or Proud and Powerful or Santana Ortiz, whatever you want to call them. I'm looking forward to them having a bigger footprint in the AEW tag team division, because as Zach said, I mean, it's not even close. I mean, it's the best tag team division.
On paper, they're loaded.
I mean, it's not even on paper. I mean, in the ring. I mean, the AEW Rampage opening match, the Lucha Brothers versus Jurassic Express, might have been the best Jurassic Express match that we've ever seen.
It was really good.
Oh, it definitely was.
It was really good. The finish was really good. The match itself was good.
Yeah, I mean, they are, how many times can we say momentum? I mean, AEW has a ton of momentum now, and a ton of young guys mixed with a ton of old guys that everybody wants to see wrestle, except for Paul White. Okay, so coming up next, and I don't want to step on Zach's count, but I mean, we have the CM Punk segment. Something else that you want to say, Jason?
No.
You just had some histrionics next to me.
No, I was saying, go ahead, motherfucker. Shit,
right,
step on his toes.
All right. So Garcia in 2.0 cut a little vignette, and then we have Punk come out and gets attacked by 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. What did you think about this, Zach?
The one thing that I noticed was, if you were a person who fantasy booked and was a big CM Punk fan and waited 7 years for him to come back, and you're like, who's the first guy that CM Punk's going to do the go to sleep on? It definitely would not be this guy, because I don't even know his name.
Right.
It's the guy from 2.0.
Right.
They're awesome. They're great in their roles. They're perfect. But it wasn't that guy. But it kind of plays into the story. They've been interfering in a lot of Darby's matches. Plays into Friday. Sting saying that he's not going to be at ringside. So this was a little bit kind of one of the things you could maybe criticize AEW about. We do it often, where they kind of have a whole lot going on in the show, and the way they condense segments, and they're always constantly firing off angles. So it was cool to see Sting. I'm a big Sting guy. It was cool to see him doing the babyface thing and lamenting the fact that this was the first time that him and CM Punk had shared the ring together. And that was all really cool fan service. And I mean, you're making people happy. You're making people happy in the building at Chicago. I get it. It didn't necessarily make for thrilling television, but it was fine.
Jason?
You're a Sting guy? I never noticed that. Honestly, I didn't have a problem with this. I mean, it basically is more of a build to Darby versus Punk. Sting's not going to be involved. That, to me, I think is a big thing. So, I mean, for me, unless we have fuckery that's outside of Sting, Daniel Garcia 2.0 or, a future feud with CM Punk, this is going to be a one-on-one match, and that's ultimately what we want. That was one of my biggest beefs with Bianca and Becky. You're going to set this up. You're going to put these two in the ring. Now you got to deliver a match. We can't see a squash. We're going to see a match with Punk versus Darby Allen, and it's not going to be 2 seconds. It's going to probably be like 20 minutes, and it's going to be one of the matches that tear the house down. The question I had is it going to main event?
I think it's going to be a semi-main or a co-main. I think.
I don't think it's going to be the last match.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Is it going to be the last match?
No, the last match is going to be Omega and Christian.
I think it is now. I thought coming into this, I thought it was questionable, especially being CM Punk coming back to Chicago for the first time in 7 years or 15, whatever the case may be. I mean, he hasn't been in the circle for quite some time, but legitimately, I thought there was an argument to be made that this could have been the main event.
Okay, I don't say this as a guy that doesn't like Darby Allen or is not the biggest Darby Allen fan. I mean, I really don't.
I said with all due respect.
And I don't say this as it has nothing to do with Sting either. Am I the only one that doesn't really like that CM Punk's first feud is with Darby Allen? Like, shouldn't CM Punk be going against some massive heel? Like, I understand that they want to put over, or that he wants to put over a young guy, whatever, or he wants to fight a young guy, or he wants to make the young guy look good. But Darby Allen is clearly, far and away, the young guy that AEW is pushing to the moon, right? And he's a guy that is not your typical looking wrestler, in the way in his body type, XYZ. But I don't want to see CM Punk. I don't want to see either one of them lose. I don't even want to see Darby Allen lose. And I'm not the biggest Darby Allen guy. Apparently, I'm the only person out there that's not a big Darby Allen guy because everybody fucking loves him that watches AEW. But I don't want to see either one of them lose this match.
Okay, so
I'm a little disappointed that it is Darby Allen and CM Punk.
So then give me a comparable opponent, a heel opponent that you would put against CM Punk right now. If you had the pencil, you got to put CM Punk against an opponent that's a heel right now. Go.
Kenny Omega. I mean, is that too much? Is that too much to ask? I mean, he's the biggest fucking star in the world. CM Punk.
On night one, you're gonna put it. You're gonna throw Punk. That's WWE. That's what we blast WWE for.
No,
Okay,
I actually wouldn't be mad about that because I think Danielson coming in should immediately go to Omega.
Jesus Christ! Here you go.
I mean Miro. But I'm also fine.
Somebody that does not have a match currently on the All Out card. I guess I need to, really start to get specific about this.
Who was? It was going to be Pac versus
Andrade.
Andrade. There we go.
I have no problem with that.
That would be fucking great. And apparently that match got canceled because Pac is having travel issues. So why don't you?
I think it's probably more likely COVID, but
whatever.
I'm good faith. I'll believe what they have to say, but it just seems.
But still, I'd rather see that.
I just want you to have an answer versus just say, I don't like this.
I just gave you 3 answers.
Come on, man. You can't just. What? We're gonna take Miro and Eddie Kingston off the card? Oh, I'm sorry, Christian Cage fans. I know you came over here to see him wrestle in the main event, but we're gonna go ahead and take him off the card. And put, CM Punk.
There isn't a single person out there that's a big Christian Cage fan that's like, Punk, I could take him or leave him. No, you could take Christian Cage off of that match. Somehow. You could have him do an injury angle.
I hear cards subject to change. But all I'm saying is I just wanted you to have the alternate response.
Okay,
Don't
and
just
I gave you 3. I didn't just say it. Stop stop telling me that you just wanted me to have an alternate response after I gave you the alternate response.
With two guys that actually have a match.
You didn't say the right thing, which is Billy Gunn. So,
right, exactly.
But I do want to say, real
big
quick,
Billy Gunn
I understand.
He has no match on All Out.
He looks better than he did in 1993. I'm watching like old Raws, and dude looks fantastic. But anyway, I do understand your concerns because I initially thought that as well because I'm like, oh, Darby, super over young guy. You don't want the reputation for having, because Punk is ex-WWE, right? You'll have these people like, oh, you're going to have this old ex-WWE talent run over your own guys. But obviously, that is not the way that Tony Khan books. At the same time, I do expect CM Punk to win this match. But the reason I'm okay with this is if you remember how Darby Allen got over. Darby Allen did not get over by running over everybody in his path. He got over by losing to Cody Rhodes repeatedly. Like, he would lose to Cody Rhodes. He would win some matches. He would lose to Cody Rhodes. Go ahead.
And Moxley. I mean, he lost to Moxley in a
Moxley, yeah. Yeah,
in a really great match. Yes.
Yeah, and so then he would win some more matches against mid-carders, and then he would get another big match, and he would lose. And every single time, he got more over and more over. And I think it's just going to be the same thing with this CM Punk. He's been, he had that good, good title run like before he lost to Miro, and he's just been so far above and beyond everything since he's been paired up with Sting. So I think it's going to be fine. I do expect him to lose, but I expect him to absorb the loss, and it's not going to be a thing.
I guess I just wish
everything he just said. Right here.
I guess I just wish that we could hear from Darby Allin a little bit more in this match going up to Punk, rather than. And this is a great problem to have. Who would have known that we'd be sitting here talking about Punk being at All Out? I mean, literally like 2 months ago, it was something that we'd never even thought of. It's such a good problem to have.
True.
Which is what's happening in today's wrestling environment, which is why it's so cool that to be a wrestling fan right now, why it's so cool. I know Zach wasn't here when you and I were talking about how we started the podcast at the exact right time because I mean, now wrestling is just on fire. It's not the way that I would have gone. I just wish that we could hear a little bit more from Darby Allin personally, a little bit more from Sting, rather than just this huge babyface promo. I want to know why Darby Allin has a problem with CM Punk, because then you get
the vignette.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
But
That's
just you answer.
I want to see Darby Allin cut a promo in front of a crowd, though. Is that too much to ask?
No, not at all.
Then just
not
him sitting up there with Sting in the rafters?
I'll just say this. For that Dynamite episode, Darby Allin's response was in that vignette.
That's fine.
Would you rather see it on, face to face? Yeah, I would too. But they at least connected the dots.
I wanted to see CM Punk. Like Zach said it perfectly. I can't believe they gave away the go to sleep before the pay-per-view. I could not believe it. I was like, seriously?
I didn't have a problem with that.
See, because that's WWE shit, to have the Scorpion Death Drop and the Coffin Drop and the go to sleep all in the ring at the same time.
It's against Daniel Garcia and 2.0. If we talk about this a year from now and I ask you who these guys were, I guarantee you won't remember. And that's the point. It doesn't matter who's the first guy
Don't you want to remember it, though?
I don't care about this. I care about the build to Punk versus Darby Allin versus who's the first person that CM Punk delivered go to sleep to.
I guess here's the difference between me and you. I live in the present.
This motherfucker.
So coming after that, we had the MJF Tony Schiavone segment.
Jesus Christ. MJF, like we say it all the time, right? MJF is good. He was better than good this time. This is like all-timer. And I think Tony Schiavone totally murdered it with his reaction. Just like looking at his watch, like, Jesus Christ, when is this son of a bitch going to quit talking? I hate this kid. He's like the worst part of my job. Like, it's so good. Like, and
could have been my favorite. Could have been my favorite MJF promo of all time. Honestly,
yeah.
no joke.
It was better than the one that he cut on you in Chicago about getting wing sauce on his jacket.
It is the weekend of the anniversary of the weekend of Starcast.
Yeah.
So shout out to View from the Top Rope. Good shit. Glad to meet y'all. Glad to be on the pod. But that shit is still one of my favorite funny memories that nobody else but the three of us can ever talk about. I agree.
I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
Like, yeah, because it was before we even knew who MJF really, really was. I didn't even know who he was. I remember talking to these dudes, like, with podcast guys, and like, oh, we requested we had to interview MJF, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I had no idea.
I didn't even know who he was.
I knew who he was. Yeah. I was just like, oh yeah, that's MLW dude or whatever, and that's really it. And that's how crazy this shit is. In 3 years, he has went from MLW, the guy that's kind of like the edgy guy on MLW, to this point where he is on the cusp of possibly retiring Chris Jericho. That's how fast he's gone up to the top. That is all kudos to MJF.
And he still has the same douchey music.
Dude. And I hope it never changes. He's one of those guys that
music you can imagine.
He's one of those guys that I never want to see turn babyface. I don't care if 20 motherfuckers come down the ring and womp his ass. There is no reason to turn him babyface at any point.
Well, there's no reason to turn him babyface. I thought that Muhammad Ali caught some shrapnel during that promo that I thought it was a little.
Yeah, I was going to go, hey, you talking about the goat over there. Let's say he's up.
He's dead.
I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, man, okay, I love you, MJF, but you crossing the line over here. Shit. Talk about somebody that's alive.
He killed him.
Hey, man, look,
bookending that with the Jericho segment, this, like, I feel like before now, nobody really believed that Chris Jericho was going to retire. These guys do excellent work. Like, this is like a very long story. I mean, this is something that just couldn't happen in modern WWE or a lot of professional wrestling promotions, because they would have lost interest and moved on. Like, if you remember, like, we had during the pandemic, we had like what do they call it when they did the song and dance number? They were like friends, like trying each other out. And then we had My Jerk Off Friend. And it's just like, it's been so long. And Jim Ross comes out and he's like shedding tears. And Chris Jericho comes out and he's shedding tears. And these guys are selling this match. I'm paying $50 this weekend because I don't know if I'm going to see the retirement of Chris Jericho or not, because he says, I'll no longer wrestle in AEW. That doesn't mean he can't wrestle in like New Japan or something, but it could happen. Like, I'm getting worked here.
I'll also say this, that like the 5 labors of Jericho, it might have seemed so predictable while we were watching it, and there were people that were criticizing it. But isn't that what you're watching for? Isn't, like, even though it's like I always say, predictable isn't bad, having Jericho go through those 5 matches is entertaining just for the fact that you know where you're going. Like, you can watch any movie that you want to. You might know where you're going with the movie. You might know that Vin Diesel doesn't die at the end of F9, but he might be put in peril. You're still going to watch it. It's just storytelling, and it's just...
Agreed.
It's just as simple as that. I loved the 5 labors of Jericho. I really did. I'm not the biggest.
I know that the One Ring is going in Mountain Doom every time, but I love watching Frodo and Sam get there, and Sam being the ultimate babyface of all baby faces, and Smeagol being the slimy heel. It's the best story. So even though I know it's the best movies ever made.
What you guys think of Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans? I liked it a whole bunch until the end when the Hardy family came in and just like it's just a big old schmoz.
I mean, what they broke Matt Hardy's nose. Well, I won't say broke it. I mean, left it in a nice little bloody mess. What do you expect? Hell yeah! I mean, Matt Hardy came for Orange Cassidy before the match.
It's just the schmoz part of it, I guess.
It wasn't.
There's so many schmozes. No, that was a schmoz, dude. It was Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans. They threw Matt Hardy out. Then there was the Best Friends. Then there was the Hardy family, which apparently is way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's huge.
Well, yeah, you just keep banging and banging and banging.
Okay, Renee Dupree's over there looking like,
stable,
oh yeah, that's huge.
Not the actual. You were talking about the stable, not the actual family, but he does keep growing both.
He keeps banging and banging and banging. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Brian Cage.
Dude, I saw on his birthday his wife tweeted, "Hey, can't wait till you come home. Threesome waiting." And I was like, "God damn, Matt Hardy's just living the life." Like, anyway,
what she didn't tell you was that the third party was Jeff.
You ain't shit.
He probably fell asleep halfway through.
Passed out.
We killed Jason.
Holy shit, I'm dead.
I'm not here to make fun of Jeff Hardy's addiction.
Not at all. No, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't feel good about that.
Two.
I don't either. Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs versus Brian Cage. Brian Cage goes over. About 7 minutes. Or no, I'm sorry. Powerhouse Hobbs goes over.
Yeah.
About 7 minutes with
Ricky Starks coming in and nailing Brian Hobbs or Brian Cage with
Taz's kid with the distraction.
Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hook. Sorry.
Yeah, this was a really fun match. Like while it lasted, like that crowd was super into it. Brian Cage doing that suplex like over the rope.
I'm into both these guys.
Boys.
I can't believe that I'm this into Brian Cage as a babyface. I'm into it, and I like Powerhouse Hobbs as a heel too.
I'll just say this, and this is something that I saw on Twitter. I guess with just on my timeline, and there's complaints about guys of color not being at the top of the card. Let's just cut to the chase. First and foremost, I'm just happy that there's representation of people that look like me on AEW, WWE, whatever the case may be. We'll just focus on the AEW for a second. There's only one person, male or female, that I should say can be at that point right now, September 2, 2021. That's Scorpio Sky. Everybody else in some form or fashion are a developmental talent. Powerhouse Hobbs in this scenario looks...
Jade Cargill?
Put them both in the same category.
She will be a
She
star,
looks the part.
She's
but
green, but
yeah,
she'll be a mega star.
Yeah. At some point, she will be the force in the AEW's women's division. I have no doubt in my mind about that. I'm not going to put her up at the top right now because the matches won't be good, and ultimately that's going to turn the crowd on her. This is AEW, and they want to see good matches. They want to see good wrestling. A botch or two ain't going to necessarily kill nobody, but if you do it time after time after time after time again, that's going to kill somebody. Powerhouse Hobbs, Lee Johnson, Jay Cargill, all in that same, Dante Martin, all in that same little boat. This is the next coming of persons of color in AEW, but outside of Scorpio Sky, I wouldn't put any one of those, at least on the male side. Jay Cargill, I wouldn't put her against Britt Baker. Britt Baker's kind of green on that aspect too. You need somebody that can work with Britt Baker too.
So just to be clear, when you say persons of color, you mean black people, because Andrade is a person of color who certainly main event.
Fair enough.
I just want to put that out there just to protect
people
you.
People that look like me.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to say that so you don't get killed on Twitter.
Man, don't get me.
BFRJCB. I didn't realize Dave Chappelle was all elite.
Dave Chappelle is all elite.
Shit, I'll take that paycheck. I'll talk that all shit all day long. You pay me.
So here's the match on All Out that I'm a little surprised is there. It's QT Marshall versus Paul White, a.k.a. The Big Show. Billy Gunn and his kids, they're called the Gun Club. He He gave his kids, typical, like, they're the names that George Carlin made fun of in his stand-up routine. He's like, oh, you named your kid Colton? He's like, Colton sucks. Like, what were their names? Colton and...
Todd was the one that lives in the suburbs. And yeah.
Austin. There you go. Austin. Shit. That's a goddamn shame. I just pulled that out my ass.
Anyway. It's fine. I just don't know why there's...
Who cares?
What?
I'll say it. Who cares?
About this match? Or that
about
the match?
The turn, you mean?
About Billy Gunn flipping heel. The match I can deal with. At least we kind of built to that.
Heel. I mean, I just don't understand, if you're AEW, why are you giving any time at all to the Big Show unless it's just a popcorn match? Because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a popcorn match.
Go get your merch. Go pee.
Well, you're building it up because, I mean, that's the thing. Like, nobody's going to buy this specifically for a Paul White match.
No.
But you do have your people who might tune in that are keyed into nostalgia, and this kind of angle works. Like not the announcer coming in and doing like a quick match. Like it's a proven angle as long as you don't overdo it. And I mean, you want to spend a little TV time because if you get a few buys out of it, like maybe somebody. I mean, we were all big Giant fans. Like when I was growing up, I legitimately thought he was the son of Andre the Giant because Bobby Heenan told me so. So,
R.I.P. Bobby Heenan. God bless that dude.
I'll say this about QT Marshall. I don't know if it's go away heat or real heat, but I fucking hate that dude. QT Marshall. Is the perfect QT Marshall, if that makes sense. It does.
Marshall.
It does to me. I want to see that motherfucker.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of, like, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to see that dude get chokeslammed and just destroyed by Big Show.
What did he do to you?
I just don't think he deserved his spot, and I think that he leans into it so much.
Isn't that what you always tell me? I should lean into, whatever the case may be.
That's why I said I don't know if it's go away heat or actual heat, but I do want to see.
I think you got heat with QT Marshall.
I do want to see QT Marshall get his ass beat.
No, it's Marshall.
I think it's
I don't even understand what you're saying. Like
that's how you pronounce his name.
It's M-A-R.
Marshall.
It's like that movie We Are Marshall, right?
No.
It's Marshall. It's just Marshall.
It's like Marshall Falk, right?
Dude.
It's like Marshall Mathers.
Never mind. I'm fucking with both you guys because that's how he pronounces his name. You get mad. Yeah, that's real heat. It didn't even go away heat. You ready to see that dude get chokeslammed to hell.
I also hate Quick Trip, QT, because every time you go in there, the people behind the counter, they couldn't get you out of there quicker. They're like, oh yeah, it's $7.37. Come on, where's the money? Where's the money? It's like, hey, dude, chill out. If I go to 7-Eleven, I just bullshit with the guy from Senegal who lives on Morganford that I used to fucking see every single night.
Okay, what'd you just say? From. What's the key word in that whole sentence you just said?
Senegal?
Morganford.
Oh, Morganford. I'd love that. I love that 7-Eleven so much. I love that. You know that 7-Eleven I'm talking about?
I think it's still open. I was getting ready to say.
It is. It's not owned by black guys anymore, though.
I go to the one literally on Gravois because it's right down the street.
One time I went into that.
And that's not owned by black guys.
One time I went in that 7-Eleven, and my dude from Senegal was the guy that always worked there. He might have been the owner. He was like 6'6" or something, and there was a guy in front of him, black guy in front of me, wearing this Africa shirt, and he was like, "Hey, buddy," to him. He's like, "How many countries can you name in Africa?" Dude was like 19. He was like, and he looks at me. He goes, "Hey, Bill, how many countries can you name in Africa?"
Oh, shit. Here's the Jeopardy guy coming up. He can name like 14.
Like, a lot. He goes, "Name them all for my friend."
No.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't do it, did you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I like being asked trivia questions.
Jesus fucking Christ. Not only did you make that little kid feel bad, now you're a show-off number 2.
19-year-old turned around and shot me in the knee.
You shot me in the ass, Jake. Oh, you motherfucker.
Anyway, I hate QT Marshall.
I don't get it, but go ahead.
That's a really roundabout way of saying it.
We took the express route. Not really.
Britt Baker cuts a promo next. Do you guys know that Britt Baker is still practicing dentistry?
Yeah, she did it on. She had a video on either Instagram or Twitter, whichever one. She cleaned the teeth of one Adam Cole baby.
That's insane that she's still doing that.
God
How many
bless
days
her.
of work does she?
No, I mean,
God bless her.
That's like her whole. It's not only just her gimmick, but
no, that's her thing.
It's
you know
so
what I'm saying?
Smart because she's like, yeah, I'm a wrestler, but like she has like a retirement plan. Like she's just super smart. The funniest thing is seeing all these salty ass nerds, these incel nerds on Twitter saying, "Oh, I tried to sign up for Britt Baker's practice, and like they said she was too busy." Like, yeah, I bet she is.
Right.
Like, you know, like
there's other
like
fucking
taking it like
shit
a
going
personal
on.
attack because they couldn't get into like having their teeth cleaned. I wouldn't want to clean your teeth either. You probably haven't had them cleaned in 6 goddamn years. Like if you just finally see some hot chick on TV that you can think you can have something in common with, and yeah, I wouldn't. If I was her, I wouldn't want to. She said she has a bunch of wrestling fans that have like filled up her clientele, but I was like, I wouldn't even want a wrestling fan. Like,
Dude, you couldn't get anything fucking done. They wouldn't keep it. Shut the fuck up so I can clean your goddamn teeth, okay? You want to talk about Thunder Rosa later? Fan-fucking-tastic. Otherwise, right now, I'm going to need you to stop fucking talking and let me do my thing. I'll say this. The one thing that they teased the Britt Baker segment by like her saying like they had
a free agent signing.
I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so here's an Adam Cole nugget. Here's an Adam Cole nugget. I'm up on the TV. Got the cats away from me. I'm like, okay, here it comes. Oh man, what the fuck? Oh, she signed long term. Okay, which is great. Britt Baker signing long term, I think ultimately is going to be good for AEW. Dare I say, great for AEW. As of now, she's the face of the women's division, so be it. I'll just say this. That's one of those times where she got my ass because I was literally waiting for something about Adam Cole baby to come out, whether it was, a tease or, a T-shirt or something. Maybe I missed it, but I'll say this much. She got me because when I was literally waiting for something that never, ever happened.
Okay. Do we want to talk about Thunder Rosa being attacked by Jade and Nyla?
It just goes back to what I've said before.
It's the perfect response from both of you. I was like, the way I asked it was like, no, I don't want to talk about this. Zach's like, yeah, whatever. Jason's like, hold on. Give me 3 minutes.
No, 30 seconds. This is why you do it, because Jade's green. You couldn't just put her and Thunder Rosa in a ring and just make it happen.
Okay, Ford and Bunny against Tay Conte are
right.
One of them was against Tay Conte.
Penelope Ford was against Tay Conte.
And then Anna Jay comes out, which apparently was a big deal. I don't remember her.
Yeah, she was. She was injured. Like she was a big part of her and Tay were a tag team. She was the female member of the Dark Order.
She's the only female in the Dark Order.
Was her name Anna Jay back then?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't remember Anna Jay at all?
No.
Wow.
I remember her from before she was in the Dark Order because like Chris Jericho was on commentary one day and she was sitting up front row and he's like, Anna Jay, best seat in the house. But he was actually talking about her ass and it was like the best line. I still remember it was so good. Yeah, but yeah, Anna Jay
Dates Jungle
is one of
Boy.
those talents. Yeah, she was improving quite a bit. She's no Tay Conte because she doesn't have the
she liked my
background.
tweet, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there because it's one of my few claims to fame. I said she would be a future world champion at some point, and she liked my tweet. Thank you very much.
Did you tag her in
Nice.
it?
No.
Oh, so she was just searching her name?
Searching her name.
Maybe.
I've had Tay Conte like my tweets before.
I mean, both of them have the best seats in the house.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway,
sorry, Mom, I'm going to hell.
All due respect.
I said with all due respect.
I said it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to hell. All this is the segment before with Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose, Jade. This match, it all leads up to the Casino Battle Royale. Obviously, winner gets the next crack at Britt Baker. We're talking about that in a second. Anna Jay seems like she's coming back at the right time. If they had tag team championships, maybe that'd be a way to go. But I've always said that AEW women should leave that little bubble and go outside that bubble, maybe invade Impact. That's just me, but we'll see what happens.
All right. We already talked about the Elite. We didn't really, but
not the main event.
And then with an 8-man with the Elite, Jurassic Express, Lucha Brothers. I mean, it was a fun 8-man match, but really the story of the match is the way that it ended with them dropping the cage down, Kenny Omega, everybody getting the best of Christian. I can't even say Christian Cage. I hate it. Like
you don't have to.
He's just
we know who you're talking about.
He's just Christian. In a WWE world, this would mean that Christian's going over on Sunday. We're not doing our predictions yet, but what were your thoughts on the main event, Jason?
It was a WWE kind of finish because they showed the cage, and then after the match, the cage came down. The heels, wreaked havoc, laid everybody in waste. It wasn't the most original, but it was good to see the heels be dominant for once. I was already going to watch All Out to begin with.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, because, it's what I do.
You were going to watch it?
Yeah, it's what I do.
Okay.
This just added more fire into that belly where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for Sunday. Let's just get this shit rolling. Even though you took Pac and Andrade out, this was a good way to get me invested in 2 matches. More so Kenny Omega and Christian Cage. I'm kind of sure I know who wins that, but now that you did this, Christian Cage has a receipt in his hand. At least he should, even though I took the Impact title off you. Man, you just want my narrow ass in this cage. I got a problem with that. Lucha Brothers and the Bucks, they're going to take care of themselves. That match can be on the moon. We're going to be fine with that. I'll just say this. It was good to see the heels be dominant for once in this scenario, even though it did look like WWE.
Two Beer Zach, what do you think?
I think it's a chance to lament the loss of the Jurassic Express last time, because for me, even though podcast before I had predicted Lucha Brothers to win the tournament, because a couple years ago at All Out we had the best ladder match I've ever seen in my entire life, one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen in my entire life. I thought the time is right? It's a heel heavy show. Let's have Jurassic Express go over and win the titles in a cage in Chicago. I thought it would be a big deal and very cool. They didn't win the tournament. At the same time, I do think that we can turn that into a positive still and have the Lucha Brothers, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but just the fact that they took the pin kind of solidified for me, spoiler alert for my prediction, that the Lucha Brothers are going over in this cage. And Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks are a tale as old as time, right? As far as professional wrestling tag team matches, they're always going to give you a great performance. This match especially just made me yearn even more for another Ray Phoenix, Nick Jackson singles match, which still in my book, top 5, maybe top 3 AEW matches of all time was on Dynamite, Ray Phoenix versus Nick Jackson. Nick Jackson, even though kind of thought of as, I think he's half of the greatest tag team to ever grace us with their presence. Like Nick Jackson, I think is still underrated for just how goddamn great he is, and everybody knows how good Ray Phoenix is. So, anyway,
which one is Nick?
I thought this was.
Oh, Jesus,
oh my God.
Guys, at this
get
point,
your boy.
Guys,
whose man is this? Whose man's is this?
Guys, at this point, it's just it's a running thing. Like it's like
I know
with the Walker Texas Rangers. I really can't tell.
Did you watch the match?
Bill's like, which one is Walter? But anyway, fun way to end the show. I think the show's already a little heel heavy, as I said, so I didn't like that aspect as much. it was a little bit more WWE where it kind of ended with heat. But I think they ended with heat because they're going to give us something out of it. Not just to get heat, right? So it's fine.
All right, so we're going to have a 2-part 3 count. Let's get to that 3 count.
Part 2.
2, 3.
The first part of the 3 count, I'll take it. The second part, I'm going to cede to Jason Cornelius Bell. The first part's going to be, it really seemed like we had a shoot match on Raw in between Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax. And when I say shoot match, I don't mean that they were actually fighting, but I mean that those two performers were actually pissed off at each other during the match. And it's been talked about since. I mean, like, the dirt sheets have been really hot with it. And it looked like those two ladies were very mad at each other. Now, listen, both of those ladies performers, both those wrestlers, have a history of fucking people
Somebody,
up.
no, in this scenario, because I want to try to keep as specific as possible, Nia Jax has fucked Charlotte up.
Yes, but
Okay.
Charlotte Flair has also fucked Kairi Sane up.
Yes, without question. Without question.
Like,
But
Kairi Sane, it was Kairi Sane, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was concussed, and Charlotte thought she just wasn't cooperating, so Charlotte started slapping her in the goddamn head.
Nia Jax did Kairi Sane too. So, arguably,
Poor Kairi Sane.
amongst other things.
Yeah, we hardly knew ye.
Yeah, right. And I was going to say NXT Japan's going, down the train. I mean, come back to stardom. Kairi Sane, dare I say, never mind. I guess here's my point. Yeah, right. I guess here's my point. You got two of the arguably unsafe wrestlers, women-wise, in the ring at the same time.
Well, I'll stop you there. Charlotte Flair has never been considered unsafe against anybody except for that one Kairi Sane incident, which was very unsafe. She could have killed her. Nia Jax is consistently unsafe.
One unsafe, one with a spotty background.
I can't believe she's still employed.
One is basically like an expired Trojan condom, and one is like a condom you get like from a truck stop gas station.
Jesus Christ!
It's like,
which one do I use? I'll take the truck stop gas station.
Yeah, I'll take the truck stop.
Yeah,
like, that's
I feel like that's going to give me a good fighting chance. It's
no
all I
brainer
ask.
to me.
It's a fighting chance. I watched this match on Monday, and I saw the spot that is the spot of question. It looked a little stiff. Dare I say, dangerous.
Yeah, but before that, Charlotte gave Nia Jax an inverted DDT unlike anyone I've ever seen. It just looked so fucking weird. Like, it looked like she was trying to hurt her.
See,
okay.
No,
okay.
I don't.
Okay.
That one I didn't see like 15 times.
I
saw the Charlotte fall 15 times.
Not trying to cut you off.
No.
I'm going to move this along. Do you think that this is a worked shoot, or do you think it's a shoot? Because there are people on the internet that believe that this is a work shoot, that they're just trying to get everybody talking about WWE Raw. I think that's absurd.
This is a shoot.
I think that's a shoot. I think both those chicks were mad at each other.
Yep.
They knew they were on TV.
Yep.
And they decided to start being like, hey, I can do this move to you whether you want me to or not.
I don't remember the Charlotte inverted DDT. Obviously,
it looked fucked up.
Okay. So when all that happened and they got up and they were looking at each other, and you can see that moment of, okay, well, what the fuck you gonna do? What the fuck you gonna do? And then Charlotte kind of smacked her, and, they're kind of smacking each other. That's when I was like, something's not right here. There's something that is going left, and we're watching it unfold. I'm glad I'm seeing this. It's one of those few times that Raw is
rules.
now starting to pay the fuck off.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's like the most interesting thing that happened on Raw in a long time.
I'm like, dude, these chicks are really pissed off at each other.
Now, our friend and co-host, Zach Pullman, also watched this match from Raw.
Jump back.
I know. What do you think, Zach?
So I don't know that I don't think they went in there with the intention of doing a worked shoot. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
agreed.
I do think that they crossed wires, got lost in the match, and both got pissed, and it just evolved into a complete shit show. And yeah, there was obviously like Nia going up for like the back suplex and then just dropping Charlotte on her goddamn head.
Okay, that's the spot I'm talking about.
Charlotte going for a guillotine and then Nia not cooperating, and then just like she turned it into the inverted DDT, and then like also Charlotte kicking Nia in the face, and Charlotte goes for a cover and Nia just stands up.
It's like it
was just
hard to watch.
It was god awful, but they did not go in there with it. It evolved. And
they're going to have a program. They took Alexa Bliss off of this program because that was the whole reason I thought this was even going to happen.
So in a shoot scenario, who do you root for?
I'm a Ric Flair guy. I'm rooting for Charlotte.
Zach?
Dude, I can't stand. I'm sure Nia Jax is a nice person and she seems funny and stuff, but like, I just I never want to see her on TV.
All right, I'm going to take Charlotte Flair because she's white. Okay, let's get to
Motherfucker. You lucky you out of my reach.
Let's get to the second part.
This motherfucker he almost said it with a straight face.
I couldn't get through it. All right, so the second part of the 3 count. God damn, I hope nobody listening actually thinks
I'm like literally sitting next to you. I mean, I hug your baby whenever I get a chance. He's not racist. That's all I'm saying. As far as I know.
So the second part of it is New Japan Grand Slam coming up this week, and this is the part that I'm going to cede to Jason. I want to be excited about New Japan, and I know the G1's coming up, and I know that the Grand Slam is a big weekend, so I'm going to cede it to Jason because Jason knows more about it than I do.
I wouldn't say that. Zach is ultimately the New Japan guy. I've just been watching it from this point on. 2 nights of matches. First night is highlighted by Ibushi versus Tahashi for the U.S. title. On that same card, you're going to have Okada versus Jeff Cobb. I'm excited for that. Yano versus Chase Owens for the KOPW, I guess, trophy.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Match of the night.
Yeah, whatever. Kiss my ass.
Match of the year.
There's so many things I can say with that.
Match of the decade.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just say this. In this scenario, because I probably went with this 1 minute too long, this is for the KOPW championship or trophy, whatever you want to call it, and I'm pretty sure it's an I Quit match. Show versus Yo, if you haven't been watching, Roppongi 3K finally breaks up after, I think it was like 7 or 8 straight losses. Show basically throws Yo to, I guess it was Despy and Kanemaru. Despy and Kanemaru pick the bones, and Roppongi 3K breaks up. That's the match to watch as well. And then I think the curtain jerker is going to be, make sure I'm saying this right, Bushi and Takahashi versus Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask. Obviously, Hiromu and Robbie Eagles will have a match tonight against each other for the junior title. First night is good. Second night is just going to be absolutely ridiculous. I'll let you guys talk about the first night.
2 Beer Zach, what are you looking forward to the most?
Very much looking forward to Hiromu versus Robbie Eagles. I think that's going to be the match of the entire weekend. Yeah, that's night 2. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So night 1, I mean,
you said Tanahashi Ibushi
is the main event for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
For night 1.
Sorry. So for night 1, we're just talking night 1. That is what I'm looking forward to because, I mean, Tanahashi Ibushi, their G1 final match was one of the best matches I've ever seen in my entire life. So these guys are going to deliver. Ibushi's been out for a long time. He's got something to prove. I'm sure he's not happy that he not only had the crowning achievement of getting that IWGP championship, losing it pretty quickly and then being out for and not seen for 2 months. So that dude is not somebody that can rest on his laurels, and Tanahashi is the GOAT. So we're going to see an amazing match.
Night 2, we start with a weird little curtain jerker. Ishii and Okada versus and Jeff Cobb. I think we might be giving away the winner with that, but neither here nor there.
Ishii and Jeff Cobb might start a grease fire. Right?
I'll say the winner of Okada and Cobb might not be the same going into night 2. Junior tag titles on the line with ELP and Ishimori versus Kanemaru and Despy. Triple threat Bill Vegas special for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Dangerous Tekkers, LIJ with Naito and Sonata versus Goto and Yoshihashi.
I'm into that, man.
The fourth match would be Robbie Eagles versus Tanahashi for the junior title. And
not
then
only is that triple threat, the Bill Vegas special, the Dangerous Tekkers are Bill Vegas special.
Motherfucker, I put you on Zack Sabre Jr. You're welcome. And then the main event for night 2.
How many times do I have to apologize for that?
All the time, baby.
All right.
Night 2's main event, Shingo versus Evil for the, dare I say, cursed IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So like I said, 2 nights of New Japan Wrestling. Night 1 starts on, I believe, Saturday morning, 3 o'clock our time, 3 o'clock in the morning our time. And then night 2.
You're assuming all of our listeners are in America.
I said our time. Central Standard Time in America.
What are you looking forward to the most, Zach, night 2?
Definitely Hiromu versus Eagles. Usually the junior heavyweight championship does not outshine the heavyweight championship, but unfortunately Evil's had a really rough 18 months, and I'm not looking forward to that
Not at all.
Even though Shingo's arguably the best wrestler in the entire world right now.
I'll tell you
I don't
what.
even know if he can pull a good match out of him.
I'll tell you what. If they stop doing the outside interference stuff with Evil, then it can be a good match. It doesn't have to be a terrible match. The problem with the Evil Shingo match is that Evil always has Gato interfering. That's the problem. It's not worthy of a New Japan Pro Wrestling main event in my mind.
I don't think
You're absolutely right, and the most annoying part is Gato's the one putting it together.
Right.
So he's the one ruining everything. It's like he was the best booker in the world for years. All of a sudden, Tony Khan's never done this before in his life, and he's all of a sudden the best booker in the world for 2 years.
Jesus Christ, he's in the middle of a pandemic. He's booking for 5 years in advance. Give him a break.
That's true. He does book in advance, and he also nobody's been hurt by this more than New Japan.
That is fair of Jason to say. Gato has had a hard time with trying to get motherfuckers over to Japan and trying to...
And now, when you got Will Ospreay,
Yep.
Jay White,
Yep.
Ishii's coming back and forth, Suzuki's coming back and forth.
I don't think that Zach forgot about that. Well, I think that Zach forgot about that. I don't think that Zach... He gets it. Zach gets it.
Our favorite tournament is getting ready to come up after the end of Wrestle Grand Slam. Yeah.
You mean
the real WrestleMania? Yeah, the real WrestleMania.
The actual WrestleMania.
Exactly. So now, as I'm looking forward, it's not going to be the G1 loaded, the B card's got 6 guys that can win it, and the A side's got 2 or 3. It's going to be bad in that scenario because it's not going to be loaded cards. Maybe on the flip side of it, it could be more open that anybody can kind of win it. Jeff Cobb is a guy that I'm looking forward to the most out of this because I really think he's going to be the
Wow.
No, I'm not heating up.
Wow.
I think he's going to be if you want to say anything, I'll just say this.
I
He's
love
the
Jeff Cobb.
upset special for the weekend. They have built Jeff Cobb up to the point where it feels like he's in Okada's head. If you watch New Japan like I do, he's been in Okada's head in some form or fashion, using the Rain Man going into the Tour of the Islands, Rain Man make a pose, the whole shebang. This is a good time so that he can get the even Steven win, and then going into the G1, now here's the tiebreaker. This is a good time to really push Jeff Cobb. When other guys are gone, now you got to use the guys that you got. Jeff Khan, Great O'Khan, I think, are going to be the two guys that can have a really good G1.
But they haven't announced who's in G1 yet.
No.
Okay.
It's going to happen next week.
I'm going to say to every BFR listener out there, next week we're going to have a heavy New Japan pro wrestling discussion.
Remember he said that too, Beer, because it ain't going to happen unless we remind him.
Oh, no. Come on.
I'm fucking with you, man. I'm fucking with you.
We're also going to have a heavy all-out discussion.
Okay, so next week is just going to be all out in New Japan.
Well, when
a little sprinkling of WWE.
Listen.
I'm all for that.
There was a time in this podcast where I thought, you know what, let's give the people what they want. And then there was a time in this podcast that happened later when I was like, you know what, we should just talk about what we want. And all I want to talk about, when New Japan is popping off, that's all I want to talk about, because New Japan is the best promotion.
It's my favorite
in the world.
I'm sorry. I love you too, Beer. I love you too, Beer, but I'm still New Japan.
I'm not even sure if Two Beer disagrees with that.
No, he's all elite.
No.
He's all elite.
Well, it's only because All Elite has kind of taken the place of New Japan as far as
All Elite and it's also taking the place of NXT takeovers.
Yeah.
It's all
No.
It's taking all the indie guys to be like, oh, you like these indie guys? Watch these indie guys on AEW.
Okay, if you want to say that, I'll give you that. If you want to say match quality,
now if AEW did a thing that was like the G1, where it was,
I don't think you can do that. As much as I would love that, I think that would be.
You wouldn't watch it?
I think of course. Are you kidding me? Of course I would watch it.
I know. If you could have Daniel Garcia fight 9 different guys, of course you would fucking watch it.
Yes, very much so. I just don't think that they don't have to do it. They're at a point where they don't really have to do it.
So we're all agreeing. Yeah, that was the end of that 2-part 3 count.
Yeah, watch New Japan, baby.
3.
I'm 3 counting it.
This motherfucker. All of a sudden, now he's professional.
All right, let's get to those predictions.
Please and thank you.
So, this is the way we'll do the Women's Battle Royal. I want you guys to give me 3 women that could win it, least to most. Zach, I'll let you go first.
Jesus Christ, this is not even on my radar. I don't even know who's in it. I guess everyone who's not in the title match. So I'm going to go most likely Tay Conti. After that, Nyla Rose, because, you got to go for the big people in the Battle Royal, even though they always get teamed up on and thrown out. And after that, Thunder Rosa.
All right, Jason, who you got?
Kind of the same people, but not necessarily in that same order, because I'm thinking about who will defend the title against said person coming up. I'm gonna go.
Who was the first one, Jason? Or who was the first one Zach said?
I said Tay Conti. We went least to most, right?
Yeah, least to most. You had Tay who?
Tay Conti, Nyla Rose, and then most likely Thunder Rosa.
Okay, Jason.
Yeah, it's still the same kind of people. Okay, I'll take Conte out. I'll put Anna Jay in as the least likely of the 3 to win. I'm going to put Thunder Rosa at 2 because it's a legitimate reason for her to win. I still don't think that Ruby Soho is not going to, a.k.a. Ruby Riott, is not going to be at All Out. I understand, a lot of this is pointing to Chicago, but it's 7 letters in Chicago. There's 7 letters in New York. So to me, it's 50-50. The way they've been doing these.
What is he talking about? Go ahead.
The Ruby Riott Twitter, well, not even say on Twitter, but just her, vignettes leading up to her eventual AEW debut. Care. I think it's going to be at Chicago, 7 letters Chicago or 7 letters New York. It's one or the other. I think it's going to be Chicago. I think she shows up in Chicago and she wins the Women's Battle Royale. Ruby Riott 1, Thunder Rosa 2, and then Anna Jay 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing Ruby Soho 1, Jade 2, Nyla Rose 3. Paul White versus QT Marshall. Who you got?
This is not WWE, Jason. I don't see the Factory, the Gun Club, unless Paul White takes down 7 guys, which is possible. It is wrestling. I'm going to take QT Marshall.
That's the most bonkers thing I've ever heard.
I agree. I'm taking Big Show. He got Zach.
No more BS. It's definitely Paul White. Like, it's going to be like maybe a chop, definitely a choke slam. This thing's lasting like 2 minutes at most.
Hey, Zach, let's take a minute and laugh at Jason for that terrible pick.
Really? I mean, I know of all people, you ain't talking about terrible picks.
That was a worse pick from the 2016 election.
Oh, fuck you.
All right, we have Moxley versus Kojima. I'll go first. I'm going to go Moxley. Zach, you're up next.
I'm going to go Moxley, but, man, this is going to be a dope match. Like, I think it is not something that's super hyped up. I think some people might even be bummed. But Kojima is so cool. Literally just an absolute legend. And he's been posting some fun stuff on Twitter, like posting just a picture of his bicep and, like, in English saying, "I will lariat your head off." Like, super. Like, Kojima is the absolute man. He's kind of that same timeline as Yuji Nagata. But this is a very fun match, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a great matchup.
Yeah, we'll just make it unanimous. Kojima's been doing this thing over in American soil. It's good to see Kojima be something that I don't see him in New Japan. New Japan, he feels like he's more of a legend. He's rolling over young lions or whatever. This feels much more like something that you can kind of sink your teeth into and have a good 10-15 minute match. Ultimately, I think Moxley goes over.
Next up, we have Miro versus Eddie Kingston. Jason, you can go first.
Dude, for a short build, I'm really looking forward to this match. I mean, this motherfucker is going to be physical from the jump, start to finish. Miro retains, but yeah, this is one of those times where I don't think you really need much of a build. This is 2 guys you can put in the middle of the ring. Here's the belt. You guys can fight over, and the best guy wins. Unfortunately, for Eddie Kingston fans, I think Miro goes over.
What do you think, Zach?
Man, this is tough because I think Miro's really kind of doing the work of his life right now. He got over real big organically with Rusev Day, and that was a lot of fun. But I love the Redeemer, and I love his promos. I love his work. I think Eddie Kingston is a very worthwhile contender, not just like booking wise, but I think it is super smart booking because I do believe that Eddie Kingston could take this title, but I'm kind of vacillating between does he or does he not. really think that he doesn't this time, but I kind of hope that this sets them up for a rematch and Eddie gets to take this title in New York at a big TV show.
Interesting. Okay, so Miro's been kind of teasing his hot wife. Lana's 90-day contract, I'm sure, is up at this point. Do we see Lana? I think we see Lana, if not at the pay-per-view, the next Wednesday on Dynamite. Lana is up for grabs. I don't think that anybody else really wants her. She's not, no disrespect, Miro, she's not that good in the ring. I think Lana would be a nice look. Come on, man. She was eating fucking table shots left and right. Lana would be a nice little addition because there's the hot wife. Granted, it might be a little misogynistic, but you have a opportunity to bring in Lana in. What do you guys think?
I think there's a chance for a lot of people to come in on this pay-per-view. Adam Cole, Bebe, Daniel Bryanson. I think there's all sorts of possibilities.
Daniel Bryanson.
Just in case you haven't caught on, that's what we call him until he gets physically signed, and then you give him a name.
Zach hasn't been listening to the podcast, obviously, because we've decided that that's what we're calling him, Daniel Bryanson.
No, I just forgot. You're right. I forgot about that joke.
It's okay. Okay.
I think we're going to see CJ Perry for sure. And if not, it's just funny that even if like Tony Khan has no intention of signing CJ Perry, that Miro is just like, I'm going to get my wife a job, and he just keeps mentioning her every single week. That's funny to me.
Totally agree. I think
God bless him.
The best part of his promo every week is when he brings up his wife. It's so funny. It makes me so happy that I have been so pro Rusev / Miro since this podcast started. Sorry, Jason. Okay.
No. That's what I say. I'm going to take this one like a champ,
So we got some bangers coming after this. We have Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. Zach, I'll let you go first.
It's Britt Baker all the way. Chris Statlander is just a stepping stone, even though I think it's really cool that she's getting this opportunity because I think she's a real talent, and it kind of puts her on a broader stage. It's going to be the biggest buy rate that AEW's ever done. And I think it's a push to lose to Britt Baker on this pay-per-view.
Man, he just said it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He just said everything that was right.
Yeah.
It's
ultimately,
perfect take. Not a whole lot of perfect takes.
For me, the dream match would be Britt Baker versus Deonna Purrazzo, but neither here nor there. I agree. Britt Baker should retain.
I totally agree with everything that Zach said. All right, so these four might have some differing opinions. I'm going to go with the one that I think we probably agree on the most, which is Kenny Omega versus Christian for the AEW heavyweight belt. I'll go first. I think that Christian winning the Impact and TNA titles and then retiring the TNA title was... that was a consolation prize. Kenny Omega wins the AEW title Sunday night at All Out. There's no way they put it on Christian Cage. Like, I would almost put it as my lock of the night. 0% chance.
I'll piggyback on that. That is the lock of the night. If Hangman Page does not win the AEW championship, you have fucked it all up. This is ultimate long-term storytelling from the start. I love Christian Cage. Fantastic. Take that shit over to Impact. Put other guys over. Ace Austin, Moose, whatever the case may be. We talking about AEW, and there is one guy, and The Rock means one guy that should even beat Kenny Omega at this point, and that's Hangman Page. So in this scenario, I'm piggybacking on you. I'm taking Kenny Omega to
only because I went first. What do you think, Zach?
Totally sane. Yeah, I won't even take up any more time. It is what it is.
Right on. So then let's move on to what I think. Well, I think all three of these are toss-ups.
Pick 'em.
toss-ups, really. We'll start with the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers in a cage.
Pain in the cage.
I went first last time.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Jason, go ahead.
You can go two ways with this. You can go Lucha Brothers just got whomped on Wednesday night. Obviously, we're recording on Thursday, so we don't know what's going to happen on Friday. That leads me to, go with the WWE portion of the program. The guy that loses usually wins on the pay-per-view. If I'm keeping with the Santana Ortiz prediction that these are going to be the guys that win the titles, that means the Bucks got to retain. How they do it in the cage, I'm not sure. Maybe they win clean. I'm a huge fan of a heel of any point.
You're going Bucks.
I'm going Bucks. Whether it's champions or non-champions, I'm a huge fan of the heels retaining or winning cleanly. This is another chance to put, unfortunately, the Lucha Brothers scalp on their resume before they drop, hopefully, the titles to Santana Ortiz. I'm taking the Bucks right here.
Zach, what do you think?
This is tough because I talked about earlier in the podcast how I thought for sure Lucha Brothers were going to win. It's an opportunity for a big title win on the pay-per-view.
Nobody remembers
the way
that.
Everything's going.
That was an hour ago.
The way things are going, I think I'm going to stick with it. Even though I agree with Jason, I wouldn't mind either way. But I feel like we've seen Lucha Brothers.
Can we agree that either or team that wins, it's not bad? You can go.
Yeah,
you can go.
Well, of course.
You can go Lucha Brothers versus Santana Ortiz and have that match. You can go Bucks versus Santana Ortiz and have that match, and both matches can equally be as good.
Well, also to Zach's point, they're the best two tag teams that have ever existed.
Three, my brother.
Who?
Santana Ortiz, Lucha Brothers. Bucks.
No,
I don't care what.
I'll take Bucks and Lucha Brothers 1 and 2.
I don't care what order you want to put them in.
I might have to go Young Bucks and then Steiner Brothers. How about that?
Oh, see, here
Brothers
you go.
seem to really work together.
Here
but
you go.
Anyway,
I'll say another argument for another time.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm gonna go. It's me watching 1993 wrestling. Sorry, I am nerding out. But yes, I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm gonna go Lucha Brothers. I think it's gonna be a fantastic match. It's gonna be
in a cage?
Probably match of the night. It's probably gonna be the match of the night.
I'll
say that.
If it's not the match of the night, it'll be a disappointment because it should be the match of the night. As long as you're cool with spot fests,
I'm cool with spot fests.
I am too. I'm cool with spot fests, especially between two teams that are spot fest kings.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm taking the Young Bucks though also, because I took Omega. So I'm taking the Young Bucks. I think that everybody's keeping
the Elite
somebody's
should come
got
out.
to lose. I'm kind of tired of the Elite holding all the belts. It's a tired act.
Okay, and I can agree with you on that, but I think ultimately this is the fall that's getting ready to happen.
I
Hangman
get you.
Page
It's
comes
gonna be
back.
either now or it's going to be in 2 weeks.
No, I think New York is going to be a big turning point where if Hangman Page doesn't come back, then more so Santana Ortiz takes the titles off the team that just had a hellacious not Hell in the Cell cage match, but a cage match for the tag team titles. That's how I think that ultimately this is going to happen.
All right, two more. We got Jericho versus MJF. I will go first. I think that Jericho gave himself an out the other night during his promo when he said, if I lose, I'll just retire to the announcer's table. And to me, that was Jericho saying, I'm not going to actually leave AEW. I'm just going to go to the announcer's table. I'm taking MJF. I do not want to see Jericho go over MJF at this point in their respective careers. I just don't want to see it. So I'm taking MJF. Zach, who are you taking?
Man, that's a bold prediction, and I think I actually agree with it. I think it is a fantastic way to solidify even further MJF as the superstar that he already is. And maybe Jericho's just feeling it, man. He's injured now. He's got that dislocated elbow that has not really fully healed. And he did his part for AEW. And he said I'm done with wrestling with AEW. Doesn't mean that he's done wrestling. I know that he said he would have his last match against like Lance Storm, which would be phenomenal, but that doesn't necessarily have to happen in AEW either. So this is me going out on a limb.
Or it could, and it could be unsanctioned or something.
Yeah, this is me going out on a limb. I'm going to pick MJF just because of Jim Ross's reaction, because Jericho can pull off the act and have some tears. Jim Ross acted like he was genuinely upset, and I think Jim Ross is in the know. And I think this is it for Jericho. I really do.
No, I agree. The whole Jericho.
Yeah, I can't believe we all three agree.
All three of us are taking
the
MJF.
whole Jericho promo to me was like the victory lap.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it kind of just encompassed more so of the AEW side, but then he kind of referenced before I got here, Jim Ross said it. So, I mean, for me,
I'm actually shocked that all three of us took that.
No, for me, it's like, okay, you got to really look at Chris Jericho as that guy that's really just put AEW on the map. At this point, there's really nothing left for Jericho to do. What is there left for Jericho to do?
It's almost like It's almost like his whole run was just to put one guy over huge, and it was MJF.
And I have no problem with that.
Thing.
And I have no problem with that. It
really is. It's like, it's why you watch wrestling. It's like,
if he lost on Sunday, then what was the other 3 wins for? It means nothing.
Right.
You need to put, and this is no disrespect to Chris Jericho, arguably.
You can't disrespect Chris Jericho.
You can put him on your Mount Rushmore. I get it. He's not on mine, but if he's on yours, so be it. This is a scenario where MJF putting the nail in Chris Jericho's career. That's gonna go for 20 years. It won't even.
As
Baron
a 53-year-old Jericho or whatever he is, like, what a perfect way to go out.
Baron
Just
Corbin,
put over some guy huge, some guy that you believe can do it for the next 20 years, which MJF is that type of dude.
Baron Corbin retiring Kurt Angle is a trivia question, but it doesn't mean nearly as much as when MJF retires Jericho.
As much as I love Kurt Angle, retiring Chris Jericho is a bigger deal. I mean, it is. I mean, retiring Chris Jericho, a guy like at the beginning of that promo with MJF where he named off every single one of Chris Jericho's nicknames, that was really fucking cool, man.
And that puts it in perspective.
I watched it 3 times. Aaron was like, why do you keep rewinding it? I was like, because it's cool. Like the Ayatollah Rock and Rolla, the Painmaker, like all that shit.
Everything. He nailed each and every one.
What's the other one? The Demo God?
Yeah.
That's so good, man.
Oh, you know, from start to finish, and I'm not mad at anybody for it. Walls of Jericho, the whole shebang. It was literally both segments was a victory lap for Jericho.
And you know what else?
And there's nothing wrong with him going away.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Zach. Like, he's going out before he's actually done, you know?
Yeah, he is not done. He's still capable of being a main eventer. He is not to the Kurt Angle point where we saw him have some very bad matches. And granted, the last Kenny Omega Jericho match was not my favorite, but the guy can still go. And I think, like we said, he has done his service, right? He's done his time.
Damn
he
right.
He did what he was supposed to do.
Damn right. He put AEW on the map.
I mean,
it made them legitimate.
Yeah.
If AEW is Jesus, then Jericho is John the Baptist. I
okay,
mean,
I wasn't going to go there, but you can do that shit.
He thought he was Judas, but he's really John the Baptist.
Exactly. He's not going out on top but he's not going out on the bottom either. Like, nobody's feeling sorry for him because he's wrestling too long.
I'm not mad because he loses to fucking Baron Corbin.
Right.
He'll lose to MJF, and that to me is a legit way to go.
It's not like he's completely washed up like Xavier Woods. And then we have...
you just mad because he blocked you.
We have one more match. We have one more match. That
He said up, up, down, down, left, right, block.
That's what you get for talking shit about Xavier Woods.
Hey, he's funny, but he's 2 hours behind us, fucked up funny. Like, we're fucked up at 7:58. He's fucked up at 5:58.
Okay, but he gets going.
That's a true story.
All right. Last match is CM Punk versus Darby Allen. Jason, I'll let you go first.
I was going to say this when we were talking about this earlier in the pod. Darby Allen at this point, to me, I won't say he's Teflon, but I think Bill said it best. He's able to absorb the loss. I don't think that there is any real way.
I think that was me that said that. But
okay,
yes, you are correct.
okay, whomever said it.
Yeah, I didn't say it about Darby Allen.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right.
Guess we all look alike to you, huh?
And right now, yeah, you know, it's 50-50. If you and Two Beard kind of, you know, I actually know you and Two Beard, but
drunk white guys with beards that host wrestling podcasts.
Yeah, hey, look, you know, you and Diesel kind of look alike, you know.
So who you taking?
It's got to be Punk at this point. I mean, obviously, in Chicago, I don't know if it's the main event or not, but it's not a knock on Darby Allen. And that's where I think a lot of this is going to boil down to. Darby Allen should get himself over in the process of CM Punk winning this match.
Who you got, Zach?
I'm going with Darby Allen. I'm sorry, I'm going with CM Punk. Yeah, I'm going with CM Punk. Yeah, CM Punk's not going to lose his first match, and it's fine.
I'm going with Darby Allen. I think that you have to give people what they want, but what they don't expect. And I think that Darby Allen being CM Punk and CM Punk kind of doing this story where he has to get back to where he came from. I mean, kayfabe style. He should be kind of bad at wrestling right now because it's been
That's actually a really fun idea. I like that.
It's been 7 years. And I think what I was saying earlier when I said I don't like this being a match between these two guys as CM Punk's first feud, I like it a lot if Darby Allin goes over. If CM Punk goes over, I hate it. If Darby Allin goes over, you know what? I like it. And I think that AEW should turn Punk heel sooner rather than later.
Agreed.
He's not the greatest babyface.
No.
You can see that his pop has gone down exponentially since he's come back. Now that, of course, the first one's going to be the biggest one.
Yeah,
and
but I mean at a certain point, you know,
but
it's going to come back to reality. CM Punk's going to be around.
But if you're worried about the Chicago crowd is savvy enough that they probably want Darby Allin to win too, because they want CM Punk to turn heel or to CM Punk to have some kind of story. You can't have CM Punk just do this year-long, I'm going to wrestle everybody and just have fun. It's going to be NJPW during the pandemic where they're good matches with no story.
Agreed.
So, I'm taking Darby Allin.
Did you write that down?
Yeah, I wrote everything down.
Wow.
We're pretty close.
I'm totally fucking stunned.
I wrote it down before you guys started just because I thought one of you guys was going to take it. I can't believe
I'm totally stunned. I'm totally stunned.
Do you want to put some money on it? That? Like, that's how sure I feel about it. I think that Darby Allin's going to win. And
I will be more than happy to take – well, actually, I won't be more than happy to take your money because you need it for your daughter. But I will say this. If I win – I will be more than happy to give that back to you as a starter fund for your daughter's college career, whatever the case may be. I will be really, really stunned.
Yeah.
Stunned.
Yes. I will
if Darby Allin
I will
wins.
take that money that you give me for my daughter's
This
college.
motherfucker here.
And I'll take it to the IGA. And I'll get some Lorraine Swiss cheese and some sourdough and maybe some tomato bits.
We say, I got to eat too.
Eat just a big. All right, we got some birthdays this week.
I guess we're all taking Kenny Omega. We didn't do that one.
Did we not do that one? I wrote down.
Yeah, we did that one. I say Kenny Omega.
Yeah, everybody wrote down Kenny Omega.
We're all taking Kenny Omega. Yeah, that's what I say. Let's just.
I'm not gonna pull a magic rabbit out of the hat.
No. I think we can all.
I think that's the one where Zach said, "I have nothing else to say. It's Kenny Omega." Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to throw the man underneath the bus, but
dude might be fucked
Mayhap.
up.
I mean, I'm a handful of beers in, like freaking 9%ers here.
Hey man, hey, you ain't gotta keep rubbing that shit in, dog. Okay,
I'll never be a 1%er, but after years of hard work, I might end up being a 9%er. Who knows? But right now,
far west over there.
Right now, I'm still about a 90%er. So
this motherfucker.
Listen, I'm gonna do the birthdays again.
Birthdays. Okay? God damn.
Zach, don't talk. I'm cutting all this out. Actually, not.
No, he's not.
This is banned from ringside.
Hey, everybody, we got some birthdays this week. TJP, you guys remember TJ Perkins?
I do.
Dude is 37. The Bunny is 34. Karma, you remember Karma?
Jesus. She fake pregnancy to get out of fucking WWE. God bless her.
No, that's
God bless her. I'm out.
That's so impressive. It really is good.
Yeah. It was a baller move.
Right. I'm pregnant. I'm really not.
Xavier Woods is 35.
Adam Cole should have thought of that one.
Hunico. Also,
don't look at me. I don't know.
He was
I'm not even gonna laugh.
He was Sin Cara. He's 44.
Okay, he's still alive. Perfect.
Molly Holly is 44.
Sorry, she's alive.
Quote the Raven. Nevermore.
He's got his own podcast.
He's 57. I want to say about this next guy who's 38. Vince and Bruce Pritchard are starting NXT so they can build just guys that they want to make into superstars for WWE Raw and WWE SmackDown. You know, like Miro or this guy who turned 38 this week, Braun Strowman. Like they're going to do NXT to try to find huge ass stars, and they cut Braun Strowman.
They just wish you would have signed him for 6 figures instead of 7. That's the only problem.
Well, just fucking push the motherfucker. Like it's so.
Well, they had a chance.
They should have pushed him at Great Balls of Fire.
Boom,
you know?
Boom! You stole my thunder.
Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts.
Sing it, Daddy.
So we appreciate you guys listening to ours. For Lucha Chris.
Check.
For Sideways in Time.
Check.
Podcast.
Patriot Pat. Check. I'll get you. I got you.
For my wife asleep in the chair. For Reba asleep on the couch. For Double check. Oh, she's so cute.
Triple check for the Queen of the Ring.
For Vice. For
check.
Two Beer Zach Pullman.
Check.
For Jason
She's about
Cornelius.
to frog splash your checking account.
I'm Bill Vega, and everybody boo the heels.